puppies. You haven't taught them not to yet. So they didn't
Hmm.
say if they, the puppy chewed up everything in the house or trash like tore down the trash, or if it pooped or peed, or they didn't say what kind of mess. They just said the puppy made a mess. And so Russell and the wife got back, and Russell got pissed that the house was a mess, and so he beat
Oh,
Carol.
that's when he beat her like
Yeah, he
really
beat
bad.
Carol for,
Yeah, that's
I
what it
don't.
was.
That's what I
Hmm.
don't understand. Like she was at work with you. Why are you beating her? So he
Yeah, he
beat
did.
Carol,
Hmm.
and then he kicked the puppy to death. Can
Yes,
you
he did.
imagine somebody
He
so
sure did,
heartless?
Kai. Thanks for reminding us of that because that was one of the first things that I did see, but in one of our docudramas links, but I just didn't remember that scenario at this particular time. But that really freaked me out because I thought you are a heinous person. What does the dog have to do with anything in these stories? Why
I
the dog? What
mean,
did the dog ever do to you? But then to beat
things.
her, uh,
It's
it's too
two
much.
things. Why would you
Mhm.
beat her? It's not like she was there and she let it happen and she just didn't clean it up before
She
you got
wasn't
home. She
even
was at work with
home.
you.
She was at
Yeah,
work,
so why
right?
are you beating her? Number one.
She didn't
And
teach
number
the dog.
two, it's a puppy. You haven't
Mhm.
even taught it right from wrong yet. So, like, why? And if you just didn't want it anymore, why not just give it away? Why would you kick it to death?
Exactly. You don't have time. You're at work all day. You don't have time to raise this puppy. It's part of your family. People don't understand that. That's really ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous.
It is. My thoughts were he's one of those narcissists that, and controlling people that blame you for everything. Have you ever dealt with those types? And what that means is it's your fault that the puppy did this because had you trained him better, whether you had the puppy 10 minutes
See,
or
I
10
can't
days,
deal with that because
no?
somebody would be like, had you trained him, I'd have been like, why didn't you train him?
Right.
I
You could
wouldn't
train
be
him
able
just
to
as
be with
well as I
somebody
could
like
train him.
that. I'd be like, we both have hands, we both have a mouth. What are you talking about?
Exactly. And we both work probably full time outside this house. And we both come home
Yeah,
together. So what yes, what are you saying? Oh
yeah.
gosh.
So,
Yeah, so
so,
Southampton and then they moved back to Burma. Or did I say that right
so,
Burma?
yeah. So after that, she had actually reached out to her mom
Mm-hmm.
to tell her mom that, and her mom was back to telling her to
Leave.
leave Russell.
She didn't want
So
to leave.
then they moved to Canada for work again, and then in '82 they moved back from Canada to England. So well, now they're in England. So Russell then starts another job, not a job, but another business, and he hired Patricia. So this woman named Patricia to work for him. So she started working for him from their house, which she was actually just like sitting at the kitchen table working, doing work for
Literally
him.
working. Okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was like sitting at the kitchen table working for him. And then, so all this time he's having money problems, by the way. So then he has like this brilliant idea like, hey, Patricia, okay, wait, just listen to me before you say no. Just hear me out here. Okay. So this is what I'm thinking. And listen, when I say this, you're going to think it's like extremely brilliant. Like I would say it in a British accent, but my British accent is terrible. But
Brilliant.
you're gonna
There you
think
go.
this is extremely brilliant, and you're just gonna be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of this? So okay, here we go. What I think you should do is I think you should sell your flat, which flat
Apartment.
in England is apartment. So I
Hmm.
think you should sell your flat, take that money that you got from your flat, give it to me. I'll pay my mortgage with it, and then you can move in here since you're working from
Save
here
money
anyway.
and
You
you're
can
working
just
from yeah,
move
that
in
makes sense.
here,
I mean, it doesn't make sense,
and
but it's kind of I get his
you
logic.
know,
Yeah. Hmm.
and yeah, so you can move in here, and then you could just work from home, and it'll just be amazing. Just like, just, just mill that around for a second, and what do you think about it? And obviously,
Wow.
she was like, oh my God, Russell, that is absolutely brilliant.
It's
You are right.
absolutely
It's
fabulous.
absolutely brilliant. Let me go sell my flat right now. Yeah, my British accent.
That wasn't too bad actually, Kai. You're getting better.
So she went and sold her apartment, and she sure did give that money to Russell. He paid for the mortgage. She moved in. So then she started working out of the house, And as time passed by, so, oh, I forgot to say. So that when she started working for him, well, when they came back from Canada to England, that was 82, and then
Mhm.
she started working for him in 83. So this is
86 or
happening in
80, okay.
83.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then when she started working for him, that's when it started. Well, that's when we act like, because, but it probably started before that, because I mean,
The affair.
really, if my boss is gonna say, hey Kai, can you sell your house and just give me the money and then come live with me?
And just live with me like,
I'm gonna be
I think
like,
you might like
so
me a little bit.
I no, I'm gonna actually be like, whatever drugs you're taking, I
Oh,
want to try
okay.
some, because you're high as f. Like
Right.
something is wrong with you, that you think even if I sell my house, the money ain't going to you. You serious? You
Well,
crazy.
obviously
If you can't afford to pay me,
something's
then I'll
wrong with
just go
her
get another
too.
job.
Yeah, but obviously
But
something's
anyway,
wrong with Patricia too, because she was all for it, apparently.
yeah. So anyway, so they're saying that the affair started after she moved in, but I'm pretty sure the affair started before that, because who's going to sell their house and then give
And be
their boss the
convinced to
money?
do that. And then she saw, I totally agree. I feel like she saw the luxury of it, she saw the convenience, and she saw the fairy tale of that.
Yeah.
Oh, eventually you'll just leave your wife and be with me. Literally, you know?
That's what she thought. So essentially,
Right.
what happened was this dude brought his mistress to live in his house with his
Hmm.
daughter and his wife. So,
Exactly. That was a, gosh, that was a huge chunk. Thanks, Kai, for giving us that very important scenario there. It's a couple of things that happened. The dog died. Well, I remember that he did beat the dog and he beat her, but I couldn't connect the Southampton move. That part I wasn't as privy to. But the point is, they did kind of move around. They did have a great life as far as comfort, the comforts of home goes and environment, and because he made good money. And then when he stopped making that money, do you think that's what caused his extreme depression, or maybe why he really started to just shift Carol to the side, like whatever, you're not important anymore?
no, he was a
Or
dick before that anyway.
yeah, that is true. Well, as far as Patricia goes, Carol was more than aware that her husband had a mistress. I mean, that's pretty obvious at this point. You know why, Carol? I'm sorry. You know why, Kai? Because if you know, I believe your theory too. They're probably seeing each other before that. There's just little innuendos that people do, little things that people do. That body language is very strong and very important. Even if you're not a public display affection type of person, you can still sense through heat, passion, or otherwise when two people like each other or have something going on. So I believe that he openly, at times was very open about his relationship. For all we know, he might have even told, listen to this. He might have even said to his daughter Sam, this is Daddy's special friend, Sam, because what would a kid be thinking? Right? It's like, Daddy, what are you doing? That's not mommy that you're kissing in the kitchen. And so as time went on, he boldly just moved, as you said, he just moved her into the house completely. So she was around anyway, working with him, excuse me. But then eventually he's like, you know what? You're a full fledged lover right now. You're not even a sister wife, because you literally are, you're the one that I'm giving all this action and attention to. At least a sister wife, I'll take Mondays, you take Wednesdays, I get holidays. His poor wife didn't get any of those privileges. He just was kind of like, eh, you're last year's news, you know. So I believe it was never accepted by Carol Kai being a second fiddle
I
instant sister
mean,
wife.
obviously it was never accepted by her,
Right.
but
Mhm.
I
She
mean,
didn't sign up for that.
I mean, she didn't realize, according to stories, that this was his mistress until he actually made it blatantly clear, like he moved her in. But
Yeah, that's what I was
like,
thinking too. Hmm.
she's easily overtaken in the fact that he's outwardly controlling and she's introverted, so she probably just went along with whatever he wanted her to do. But so she's having this hard time that this girl is in her house and everything. But what happened is one day, her daughter like called her, I guess while she was at work or whatever, and was like, Mom, this isn't the first time Russell has cheated. But don't tell Dad I told you. She was like, please don't
Yeah.
tell Dad I told you.
Hmm.
So I mean, being
This is
the
just his
broken
thing.
down woman that she is, what do you think she did? She immediately went to him and be like, "Oh, this isn't the first time. Yeah, Sam just told me. Yeah, I'm so mad at you." So, the daughter expected the mom not to tell the dad because she's like, "I want you to know this isn't the first time that he's been cheating on you." And, she's like, being that she knows how mean her father is, she's like, "Just don't tell dad I told you this." So
Exactly.
then,
Hmm.
yeah, so then, um,
Well, did you
later
know
on,
that? Did you know that he changed his surname to hers 1 year before he Cosley
that's
moved?
what I was really
Isn't that
confused about. That's
crazy?
so
What
weird.
does that mean? Because they're not legal, though, Kai. How do you do that? I mean, how do you do? Well, you can change your name,
You can change your
but
name to whatever you
you
want,
can
but
change
I just
whatever.
thought it
But
was like
uh,
really weird.
uh, in America, first of all, when you take up, the wife takes upon the husband's name, or the woman does takes upon he took upon her surname. And by the way, I didn't catch that anyway. They referred to
Well,
her as
actually,
Patricia, right?
it's I don't know. You do whatever you want, even in the United States, because what's her name?
Well, I've
Zoe
got
Saldana.
Patricia. Oh, Zoe.
Zoe
So then, yeah, I
Saldana.
heard
Yeah,
about
her
that.
husband took her last name.
Yeah, I just watched a video with her last night. What are the chances? Yeah. But
Yeah,
her.
so it's like it's just up to whatever whoever wants to do. But anyway, so after after she said don't tell dad, later on that night the dad calls and he was like, wait till I get home. So she
Right.
was all
Yeah.
scared, like,
Another
oh
another
man.
weapons coming. Beating, I should say.
Yeah, so she was all
Yeah.
scared or whatever. So by the time he gets home, she's already in bed. So
Right.
she heard him come through the front door and he didn't do anything else. He came through the front door and he immediately went upstairs to her, turned
Yeah.
on
He
her light,
didn't stop and have a
and
snack or anything downstairs. Went straight up there.
nothing. Turned on her light, and like he had this hard soled slipper with him,
Hmm. Hmm.
and he just went at her, but he beat her on her bum and then tossed her around the room, and
Like a
she
rag
said
doll.
she was just black and blue after that.
She
So
still had a scar, I think, to this day. I think she was saying on her wrist, unfortunately, because they
yeah,
threw her that hard as a child.
I don't remember about the scar, but she pointed to her left arm. She
Hmm.
remembers that her left arm was the arm that was black and blue.
Oh, okay, yeah, the arm that was actually, yeah, bruised at that time.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
then
that's exactly what it was.
after this happened, that's when Carol was like, "You know what? I'm done. I'm done.
She's
I
had
can't take this
enough.
anymore." So June 14th, 1985, she went to find out about a divorce,
Hmm.
and she went to go and see. So in England they call this a solicitor. So in United States, so okay, so our British listeners, you know what a solicitor is. In the United States, we know what a solicitor is. So I'll give both definitions. So in Britain, a solicitor is basically a lawyer, a type of lawyer. So I'm going to tell you what Britannica.com says. So,
Hmm.
solicitor is one of two types of practicing lawyers in England and Wales, the other being a barrister who pleads the cases before the court. So, you have the
Hmm.
solicitor and you have the barrister. The reason why I know this is because in the United States, when we say solicitor, it's somebody who keeps coming to your door to try and sell you crap.
Yeah, that's right. They're the
And so
mouthpiece.
when they
Yeah,
kept saying solicitor, solicitor, I was like, what in the world is this solicitor? So I
someone
had
that's
to actually
pushing
look
and
it up.
speaks.
Yeah.
Kai and I both had to do some research on our own individually. We were laughing at how we compared notes, and either of us were going. Well, either of us didn't know. Neither of us didn't really know what it was, but but we were just like, oh, this is really interesting. It's a cultural thing, so we're learning something new about some of the things that that they do in England that are different from the United States, as well. So, so the other thing too is when Kai was saying that she went to the solicitor or the lawyer in 1985. She also Veronica Packman disappeared from her home in June of 1985. So her daughter Sam Gillingham, who was 16 by the way at that time, she came home from school and she found a note.
Wait a
Supposedly,
second. Wait a
mhm,
second. Wait. You jumped the gun. So June 14th, like I said, Carol said she was done. So June 14, 85, she went and found out about getting a divorce and started filing paperwork. So she went to see her lawyer and started filing the paperwork about a divorce. So the next day, I want to point that out to people. The next day, June 15th, 1985,